Hello and welcome back to Aurora Forex C# 2.1, the series that will be continuing as the Empire of Space Japan, and we're going to be moving on to episode 2 today. But before we start, I do want to say, if you do enjoy the content and do want to see more of it, as this is a niche game, consider liking, subscribing, commenting. These all help me out and get the video out there. And if you really want to be supportive, the best way you can do that is by joining as a member. Alright, let's get into it, shall we? So, where were we? Well, we had just finished surveying the solar system, and we had begun moving to the two jump points within Sol, that being Proxima and Alpha. These two jump points were unnamed originally because of some system problems with the theming, but thanks to some of you guys, we now have names for any future systems we do discover, specifically thanks to Wolfman at Large in the comments and Oizen O'Malley. Apologies if I did not pronounce either of those names correctly. But we will now have a beautiful set of names for systems that we can use. So, where should we begin? Well, first, we need to kind of have a look at our industrial situation. So, we've got Luna right now, which has 100 financial centers on it. They managed to finish off moving their financial centers. And this has freed up a significant amount of workers for the shipyards and construction factories that we are building on Earth. We're currently in a population problem where we are expanding quicker than our population can allow. This is because we started to build additional shipyards, we started to increase our construction factories, build research facilities, and just constantly increase our production and industry. So to counteract that, we're beginning to colonize many different parts of the solar system. Callisto now has the ability to hold 1.5 million workers on it, and we're getting a continuous growth rate that's pretty damn high, because these are smaller colonies, and smaller colonies grow much faster than larger ones. They also provide more workers for the individual population. As we can see here, Earth 25% compared to Luna, where 50% of the people are in the manufacturing sector, because service industries are not needed nearly as much. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin moving over a specific amount of mines to begin colonization efforts on Callisto. So we can house 1.5 million workers. This means that we can have a total of 30 mines on the planet. And this will allow us to begin essentially mining operations on Callisto, which is obviously somewhat valuable here. We do want to look at actually moving, obviously, our industry over. We do have these auto mines on here, but we're going to try and get Callisto up first. I'm also going to consider moving a refueling station up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to order a refueling station. We'll do 25%. And I'm also going to order up a cargo shuttle station and anything else that I might consider ordering. We're going to need another. I do believe we have another mass driver available. We do have another mass driver available, so that is not an issue. Yeah, we'll leave it at that then. I mean, no, we don't really need a refueling station, do we? I mean, we can move the fuel over to the body, which makes it safer. Yeah, we'll build a refueling station. That's not too big of a problem for us. We've got this research is on the way. So yeah, what we're going to do is I'm going to demand that 30 mines be bought, and we're going to supply those accordingly. So 30 mines at supply 30, and then they should get them over using our civilian industry, which is starting to obviously increase quite significantly, and that's always nice to see. Now, where are our exploration vessels? We currently have all of them, I believe, in the field. So if we go over to Alpha, we have the crab, the jellyfish, and the halibut currently doing their surveying, and in Proxima, we have the great white doing surveying. I obviously do probably want more of these vessels, and to do that, I'm going to order up an initial batch run of 18 more fighters to be constructed, and that'll be done by January 009. And we need a naval shipyard that will be capable of actually building those class of vessels. So we're going to have to wait for a naval shipyard complex, and we're going to have to build it up. So what we've got is what we've got. All right, let's begin incrementing along then, shall we? We just finished up stabilization on the Alpha jump point, I believe. If we go over to Alpha, yes, we did. There we go. So we will keep doing 1-day increments here as we get through the game. And obviously, I'm going to be cutting out a lot large amounts of this kind of waiting. So if that happens, that is why. Logistics. We've actually got a really good logistics scientist. We're going to use that guy for a few things. One of them is going to be trans-Newtonian cargo shuttles. I'm going to put 5 into that. And then I'm going to also look at just spreading around this kind of research, just to ensure that we get people trained up in these different fields. So we'll go for genome sequencing. We will go for power and propulsion. We've already got someone on that. We've got missile kinetics. Do we have a ground combat guy? We do not have a ground combat guy. And so we'll obviously have to wait. So what I'll do is I'll add the rest to the 20 centimeter railgun that we'll probably need for larger vessels. No extra. We found a jump point. Is the jellyfish capable of actually going over and providing survey capability? Yes, it's more than capable of doing so. So we're going to do a standard transit. That's pretty far actually from this Lagrange point. So from there to there, that's about 1 billion. And then from here to here, so it's about a 4 billion kilometer trip. So quite a significant distance indeed. So we'll see how useful this will be. A skill system of 608. We will name this in just a second. We found a single nitrogen methane world, which has methane and nitrogen, decent gravity. It's about the size of Mars. Its temperature is not egregious, and there's only a single planet orbiting in the system. Since it's a desert, I have a perfect name for that that you guys might have seen. So we're going to rename this system to Zitomir. And we're going to rename the body to Arrakis. There we go. And we'll see what we find on Arrakis. I haven't watched too much Dune or even read any Dune, but I do know obviously Arrakis is a significant body in that series of books and also movies at this point. All right, well we're going to go have a look, shall we, with the jellyfish? See what we can find. Looks like there's nothing actually there yet. Let me head back into Alpha, because that is where we found the jump point into Zitomir. And we're also going to see if there's any actual decent resources on. We may want to consider using it, obviously. What did we find? Actually, that's quite significant. We found 1 million tons of carbamite, 1 million tons of uridium, some corundium, some galisite. And did we find any potential for any? No, we did not. However, that is pretty big, those resources. So if you have a look at the solar system, so Zitomir is here, and then we have Alpha accordingly. So this is definitely a world we want to think about colonizing, so I'm going to create a colony there. Let's have a look at Alpha. Is there any worlds that we can colonize as kind of a way stop point for a garrison? If we go back to Alpha, we have obviously Alpha 1, and then if I turn on dwarf orbit, it's got a pretty elliptical orbit, so its perihelion cost is higher, so 2.68. We're going to need low gravity. We can only support 21 million population, but it's probably going to be our best shot to support any kind of significant kind of capacity, unless we use unless we would use something else, like for example a deep space population. So we're going to create a colony here, and and also, guys, suggest planet names as well, like planetary body names. That'd be really, really awesome if you do so. I'm really appreciative that you guys are interacting so much in the comments. It's been amazing. So keep doing so. So we're going to create that, and we're going to look at moving over, first off, our stabilization group 1, which is stationed on Alpha. We're going to have you go through to Alpha again, and we're going to have you go to Zitomir, begin stabilizing that jump point. What we're then going to do is we're going to need to get some infrastructure built. We're also going to get some low gravity infrastructure built, so both. Once we've stable, what we'll do is we'll move the initial low gravity infrastructure, so we can move 40 infrastructure at a time with these guys. We're going to pick up the low gravity infrastructure. We will just do maximum of 25 per run. We will move that over to Alpha. We will then unload that onto this colony. We'll move that back to Sol, and that will allow us to then establish a colony in that system. And remember, we're going to need patrols, we're going to need refueling stations, we're going to need so much of this stuff. So Alpha 1 will be our primary outpost in this system, and its purpose will be garrisoning a small fleet at minimum to provide security over this area. Because if we have a look at the gas giants here, right, we have significant fuel supplies, but also it means that we can station forces that can protect this jump point and protect eventually this jump point. And what we may want to consider doing is looking at mine layers, looking at stations, deep space populations that we can use as defensive emplacements around these kinds of bodies. So we're going to continue incrementing along here. And yeah, we're beginning to move the infrastructure over. We're going to begin to move a small colony of people over. So if we have a look over Alpha 1, we can support a total of 90,000 people. So we will load a maximum number of 90,000 individuals, and this will then kickstart any civilians who want to obviously move colonists over. So we will do that accordingly. And then we will repeat that, because they're going to do that 3 more times. We will repeat this 3 times as well. We're going to need to obviously go back to Sol, and then refuel, and then we'll repeat those orders accordingly. And that'll take quite a bit of time, but that should be our first extra solar colony. And there we go. We actually have our first colonists coming through here. The Great White has new orders. We're going to have you make sure you refuel and resupply. We're then going to have you head over to Alpha and continue, obviously, your survey mission. We have enough maintenance supplies on the planet. We also have a ton of fuel. I'm actually going to stop fuel refining for now, because we are obviously generating a lot of our fuel currently from our fuel harvesters over Jupiter, which are generating 8 million liters of fuel a year, and we are obviously consuming much less than 8 million liters of fuel. Okay, looks like they're going to handle that. We also just produced 18 more F2s, which is good news. We'll probably send over a prefabricated fighter base as the primary defensive armament around the area. We also want to start moving over troops, which is what I will do. We will move over the 7th. We'll move over an infantry regiment into it. So I'm going to move the 8th Infantry Division over to that area. So let me grab my troop transports. I'm going to begin to load up all subunits. We're going to load the 8th Infantry Regiment, and we're going to take that through to Alpha. We're going to unload onto the colony, and then we're going to head, obviously, back to Sol, and then begin, obviously, a refuel accordingly. But we're going to need another Condor class, and those Condors are going to acquire us. If we have a look here, they're going to require 18 F2s and then one Observer 1. So Fighter Obs 1. I'm going to order that up to be constructed. And if I go back to the design, yeah, EM thermal. And then we'll also probably want to put some deep space tracking stations or some other kind of sensor network around there. But we'll get the Condor, and then we'll send that over. So we're going to need to be able to support 8,000 tons worth of fighters, which means that we're going to need quite a few maintenance facilities on the world. So that means we need to get the population up, and then be able to actually supply those maintenance facilities accordingly. We did just finish up another commercial shipyard complex. So we can begin retooling this for the tanker. We've already got a tanker. We've got the jump tender. We can do the jump tender here. And then we can't do anything else here. So we will increase the capacity accordingly. I'm also going to add a slipway. But yes, we are beginning to colonize onto this world, though we need to be careful that we don't overstock it, which we kind of have done, because, funnily enough, our civilians are doing a good enough job as it is. So we're going to move to Earth accordingly. And they're sorting themselves out. O1 completed, so we're going to now need to begin, obviously, construction of a Condor. So we're going to construct one Condor. We will have that be taken over by after the maintenance facilities are done, and then we'll keep incrementing along here. So this will be our primary base, obviously, right there. Okay, the halibut's finished, and is that it? Is that all the jump points in Alpha? I mean, there's one more survey location, but that's pretty much it. So we'll send you through to Zitomir then. Okay, colony ships completed orders. That's perfectly fine, and now we actually have that infantry regiment on Alpha 1. So we have 25,000 tons, and they'll begin to dig in on the world. Now, the world is obviously a dwarf. It's a barren world, so obviously it's also low gravity. So they're not going to have the best of time fighting there, but no other enemy forces should either. Either way, we now have ground forces stationed there, and then obviously the next goal will be getting a fighter base over, and then we can begin to look to colonize into Zitomir and colonize Arrakis as needed. Alright, Great White is unable to carry out orders, so we're going to have you go through to Zitomir as well. And we'll see if we see any other jump point. But there we go, that infantry force has been moved over. In terms of Sol, we may also need to consider moving some stuff around. I want Callisto to be able to support at least a fighter base, minimum. But they're going to need to get, obviously, more workers to be able to do so. Alpha 1 currently sitting at 50 infrastructure. We are going to assign a governor that's going to focus on population growth. There we go. And we're going to need to get the civilians to start moving stuff over where we can. We've got a lot of civilian activity happening, which is working out really well for us. Once we hit 10 systems, raiders will start to spawn, so I'm not too worried about moving over our escort vessels yet. Though obviously, I want to get our fuel supplies. I want to get these outposts ready in case of the worst, just as needed. So it looks like the only jump point out of that system is going to be Zitomir. We're then going to send these guys over to Proxima to begin surveying on that end of things. But we are going to be surveying these jump points specifically. Okay, maintenance facilities completed on Earth. That gives us a capacity of 733,000 tons. That gives us a crap ton of maintenance facilities. We'll have a refueling station done somewhat shortly. We'll probably have that aimed to go towards Alpha 1. Or even Arrakis and Zitomir. We will see. We are obviously now beginning construction of that Condor class vessel. And in that regard, I don't want to murder our mining capabilities out too much. So we have currently 85,000 maintenance facilities, maintenance supplies. I'm going to stop that for the moment. Unable to load infrastructure on Earth. That is correct. We will have you stop that then. Let's just have a look at what we were moving over to Callisto. We were moving over those mines. Now, we are going to need to move over a mass driver, because otherwise we can't actually move those resources over. So we have a look at Callisto. What's their governor like? I would prefer mining governor, 15% there, because that does get us some more. And Iridium's very useful. Iridium's used primarily for maintenance supplies. Many people know that. But we are manufacturing these resources, or we're mining those resources, which is giving jobs, which is taking away, most importantly, pressure on the economy on Earth, because Earth should be focused on research labs, construction factories, and shipyards. It should not be focused on mining, really. Obviously, we still have a lot of resources on Earth, but you've got to consider that. Alright, freighters have completed orders, which is good news. We can then begin, obviously, moving those resources back to Earth using that Max driver. That'll take 9 days per shot. And we are looking for jump points in the Zitomir system. Jump Stabilization Group 1 just completed orders, so we're going to go through the other end and begin stabilizing the other jump point. And this takes about 260 or so days for these guys. Capacity upgrade completed. For this shipyard, who are we going to be retooling for this? Yes, I guess the Soryu, because then it allows to actually more escort carriers. And I'm going to add a slipway as well for that. Okay, refueling station completed at Earth. The question is do we want a refueling station? I mean, it's a pretty big distance away. Let me have a look at Alpha. So Alpha, Sol, you come right over here. The distance between the base and is about 1.5 million kilometers. And we'll also have fuel harvesters in the system that people can refuel from. So what we'll do is I will order my freighters to begin loading a We'll have to wait for the stabilization, though, obviously. Yeah, we'll have to wait for stabilization. Keep producing. We're going to produce another 100 construction factories. The more construction capacity that we have, the better. We're going to probably stop at like 10,000 build points, because otherwise our mining will not be able to keep up. You guys are also mining. Let's keep sending those resources back to Earth as required. We now have 500,000 people on the planet. Obviously, though, the supported population compared to the max is a problem. But we do have some available workers. Now, obviously, each maintenance facility takes 50,000 workers. So, and they provide, at our current tech level, if we have a look over at logistics, they provide 1,600 tons, which means that to support 8,000 tons worth of shipping, we are going to need about 5 maintenance facilities. So we need 250,000 people. We should be able to support that here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a civilian flag. I'm going to demand 5 maintenance facilities. But we're also going to need a supply ship to bring the supplies over. What we'll have to do is actually, because we don't have that available to us right now, is we're going to have to ship over minerals for them to domestically produce maintenance supplies on the actual planet itself. So we're going to demand 5 maintenance facilities, and I'm going to provide 5 maintenance facilities. 5. And then I'm going to order my freighters to begin loading. I'm going to detach 2 freighters. We should actually have some available. No, we don't. I'm going to detach, let's say, 2 freighters. We're going to call this Mineral Transport Group 1. And I'm going to have them begin loading. I would say, how much of each can I load? So we're going to need iridium, gallicite, and uranium. I'm going to say load 100. Hell, we might not even need 2. We'll just have 1. We'll just have 1 do it. So we will load mineral type. We will load 100 gallicite, 100 iridium, and 100 uranium. Now, if I remember correctly, if I look at mining, so maintenance facilities, we are using currently, so if let's just turn on production just to see again. If we look in here, so we are using less, so half of that is in iridium. So we will just send that over then. I will stop that accordingly. Yep. So we will do load mineral type 50 iridium, and then 100 gallicite. Then you're going to take that over to Alpha. You're going to take that over to Alpha 1. You're going to begin unloading those minerals. You're going to head back to Sol. You're going to refuel. And you're going to cycle those orders accordingly. And you'll just do that for now. Maybe we'll do an order delay for this. We'll see. I have to see how many resources that actually, like, takes up for you. Yeah, let me go back to Sol there, because I need to actually get an idea of how many resources. So, loading. Okay, he's on the way now. So yeah, that doesn't use very much to move those resources over. But we're going to have to move those resources over no matter what. So we'll just keep that on cycle as needed. But no, we should be able to get those maintenance facilities moved over now, which will be good. And obviously that colonization will occur. We've got the Mineral Transportation Group. We found the jump point in Zitomir. Oh, and nearly have that stabilized for the Alpha jump point, which is fantastic news. But no, that means that we do have, obviously, the supplies now on minerals on the world. We have 200 galacite, actually. Refuel. What we'll do is I'll load those minerals more explicitly as needed. So we will go. We'll do an order delay of 1 year. Hell, might even 2 years. For now, we'll do 2 years. So we'll do 2 years. Load on minerals. You're going to load 100 uranium. you're going to load 100 Gallicite. You're going to load... yeah, just because otherwise this will get screwed up. We'll have you just do the uranium shipment first right now, just to ensure that we actually have enough to begin doing that stuff, and then I'll have a look at consumption levels and we'll determine from that period. Okay, yeah, insufficient minerals in actually supplying that. So we will wait until we've got the mineral transport group moved over. Production of Condor completed. I don't know why that went to the first carrier group, but we will grab that out. So we're going to detach the Condor. I'm going to rename this to Alpha Base Fighter Defenses. And I'm going to begin creating a squadron for the ship. And we are going to call that squadron the 18th, and no, 19th. 19th Fighter Wing. I mean, these are not really wings, they're more squadrons. So we'll go for... I think that would be the 8th Fighter Squadron. And we'll call these Black Bears Squadron, and then we will grab, where is it in our shipyard? Shipyard, Earthfight Defenses. Not sure where the hell they're producing into. There they are. We'll detach all of these. We will then move them over here. That lands them immediately as needed. And I will also, I'll take, yeah, you are Obs 1, but I kind of just want you to detach and then join up with, where is it? Alpha Base, Fight Defenses. Yeah, land on specified mothership. Land on specified mothership. Condor 1. Good. And then we just put you like that. There we go. So what we will then do is we will grab our tugs. I'm going to grab one of you. We'll move you back in a second. We'll grab you. We will begin tractoring the Condor and moving that over to Alpha. We will then release that tractored ship there. We'll head back to Sol and we will begin a refuel. We are also probably going to need maintenance supply transports, which I will make in a minute. We will join the fleet. Yep, accordingly. Do we have any free commercial shipyards? Not really. I will order one more up then. We'll order one more up. And yes. Okay, Military Transport Group 1 just completed their orders. So we will begin production of maintenance supplies. That means we produce 480 MSP a year. If we have a look at the costs there, that means that we're using 48 uranium, 24 iridium, and 48 gallicite every single year. So, if we set up the orders accordingly, we shouldn't have an issue. We can now support a capacity of 8,000 ships in orbit, which is enough for what we need. So I'm going to have the Mineral Transport Group head directly back to Sol, and we're going to have them refuel, and then we'll give them new orders once they get back. But that's exactly what I want. So that's perfect in terms of support. So now we have the Condor, which is sitting over here, and we should have happen is as we produce maintenance supplies, if we look at the Condor, which should be a part of this, yep, we rename this to Alpha Base Defenses, or Fighter Defenses, and we move this all the way up to Defense Command, and we have a look at our fighters. So, our fighters, we should see, and I will check. Yeah, their maintenance is being brought down, so it's maintaining, which is what you want to see. So it's staying at 0.3, 0.4, because it's coming down and it's going back up. because of the maintenance supplies on the planet. But the point is we can maintain that over Alpha 1 just fine, and that now means that we have a colony that's protected on the ground, it's protected in space, and then we can look at begin colonization towards Zitomir and doing the exact same thing. So I'm going to order up, as next part of this, another Condor. Hell, let's get 3 more Condors on the way. We're going to put this into Shipyard Group 1. Shipyard Fleet 1. And I'm going to order up 25%, 3 more of these Condors. And then I'm also going to order up 36, 42, 54, 64. God, can I do maths for a second there? 36. 54. 54. There we go. 100%. We are going to build all of those, and then we're going to also build 3 O1s as well behind those in that queue. All right. We've nearly finished up gravitationally surveying this system. We also nearly finished up stabilization accordingly. So what do they need again? So we have 18 supplies, and they are going to need 48, 48, 24 every single year. Okay, so they will run out in 2 years based on that. So we will do this every 2 years. We will supply with those resources. So, Mineral Transport Group, you are going to load. Okay, you are going to load mineral type. You're going to do this maximum number of items. You're going to do 48. We're going to do this an all delay of 60 of 2 years. You're going to load 48 uranium every 2 years, and then you're going to load iridium. You're going to load 24 iridium every 2 years. Well, no, they're going to need enough every 2 years, aren't they? So that's every... They're going to need... Yeah, they make 48 a year, so that's actually wrong. I need to go back on that. So we'll move that accordingly. We're going to begin loading all minerals. So we'll do order delay 62, and they're going to need 96. So low mineral type. Then we're going to get rid of the order delay. We're going to do low mineral type. We're going to go for iridium. We're going to need 48 of that. We're going to need to go for galacite. We're going to need 96 of that. And then we are going to ship that over to Alpha and unload the minerals accordingly. And then we're going to head back to Sol and we're going to refuel. We'll put this on cycle. So every single 2 years, we will resupply the exact amount we need every single 2-year period. And that should work out for us accordingly. All right, well, we're going to be stabilizing here. We added a slipway. We're continuing to construct more F2s. We're looking for more jump points. Trans-Newtonian cargo shores just finished up, which is fantastic news. I'm going to then use the rest of these to begin looking into research on salvage modules with fueling hubs. I like the idea with fueling hubs. Okay, jellyfish cannot carry out primary orders, so we will have the jellyfish then go into the unexplored jump point and have a look for us. Okay, jump stabilization group just finished, which means we can begin to actually send stuff over to Arrakis. I'm going to assign a governor that will focus on population growth and mining. There we go. And we will start to move over infrastructure, which we will need to be moved over, which we don't actually have available for us. What will be next to finish? That will be finished when I will be building condors. That 20% will likely finish next. So we're going to order up 2,000 more infrastructure. At a 20%. I need to have a look at Arrakis, though. Yeah, the suitability is 200. If we have a look at Zitomir, we have a look at Arrakis' orbit. Its orbit is highly uneccentric, or not eccentric at all. If we actually have a look at the eccentricity, it's 0.005, and it has an orbital period of 35 days. So 1 year is 35 days. This means that it's a very stable orbit, and so we just need the infrastructure. It's a perfect, actually, area for potential terraforming, which I do want to obviously look into at some point here. Halibut, let's have you, Halibut. Let's have you go back to Sol. We'll have you do a refuel resupply, then go into Proxima and start surveying in that direction. Cargo shuttle station on Earth completed. I'm going to require a... Yeah, I'm going to require civilian stockpiles. Civilian stockpiles. We're going to demand a refueling station. I'm also going to demand a... Now, we don't want to do that because otherwise the AI gets confused when you have things that are bigger than one per their thing. So we will actually have our own freighters do that. So we will load... we have a capacity of 150,000 tons. We will load single refueling station. Do the same for a cargo shuttle station. The cargo shuttle station will just improve, make things easier for unloading and all that kind of stuff. So head over, and that'll take them 2 years to do. Let's have a look through the jump point. We have a scope system of 613. That is one hell of a weird orbit. Let's have a look. Okay, so we have 2 bodies. We will name this system. Let me just bring up the list. Okay, what kind of system is this? Venusian moons, two worlds here. We will name this system. I like this name, Nerox. We name the serum to Nerox. Nerox 1 and Nerox 2. We have a Venusian world, and then we have just a normal Mercury type world, and they are in very strange orbits. Yeah, they are orbiting in an extremely strange manner. They intersect between each other, their different orbits, which is pretty funny. But yeah, we will begin surveying, of course. Fuel consumption, just completed research. We're going to go for power and propulsion. We will go for increasing our jump drive efficiency. Alpha 1 now has enough stuff on it. I'm pretty happy with it. Let's check up on our fighter defense situation. Yep, fighting defenses are working perfectly. Exactly what I want to see. So no issue with that at all. Let's have a look at our galaxy map. We have now discovered a total of 4 systems, including 1 Sol. This system, we will see what we find within it. Let's have a look at what we find here. A lot of uridium, a lot of uranium, a lot of decent resources. This is another similar to Arrakis. This is actually a very not that eccentric orbit. So this can be another base that we can put on Nerox as we begin expanding out. So what I am going to have to do then is grab our stabilization ship, and we can stabilize that jump point accordingly. Okay, Halibut is unable to carry out standing orders. Did you just finish up your... Let's just have you refuel and then begin your overhaul accordingly. We're now the 10th year into the game here, and we did just finish up the survey of that body. 14 million tons of uranium accessibility 1, Magnesium boronite. Okay, so this will be another mining system, obviously. And again, if you guys have got any names you want to do for these bodies, that would be fantastic. And we're going to just continue, obviously, surveying as our primary objective. Let's head back to Zitomir. Let's try and focus on, obviously, getting Zitomir sorted out. We've also got a refueling station in place. We're going to need to get infrastructure moved over. We should be producing infrastructure now, are we not? We are not yet, as we are waiting on shipyards to be completed. That is a concern. In terms of our worker shortage, we're nearly out of the worker shortage, which is fantastic news. Condor completed, constructions, supply added, that's fantastic. What is going on the Proxima side of things? Okay, Proxima, we are continuing our grav survey, so far with little success. The crab has not found much of anything, really. Naval shipyard complex has completed. We're going to need to get that up to capacity upgrade. We need to get that up to 14,000 tons. So that'll be quite a bit of time on the way for that. We are now obviously producing infrastructure. I'm also going to start ordering up some more fuel harvesters so that we can begin to exploit quite a few things. primarily exploiting the new systems we found, fuel supplies, so that we can always obviously ship that fuel back. We are at a net positive fuel amount. The Halibut requesting new orders. We're going to send you over to Proxima because Proxima needs its survey situation sorted out in terms of a gravitational survey. Same thing with the jellyfish. We're going to do the exact same thing, though it does need to have a refuel and a resupply. Go into Proxima and let me have a look at our maintenance supplies. I'm going to restart production on maintenance supplies once more. Gravitational survey group 1 has just finished up. We're going to have you then go into Nirox and then begin surveying on the other side. Alpha's doing fine still. Again, their maintenance supplies over, and they should get another big boost of stockpile for their needs. But we obviously have that claim on Alpha 1 now more than Soy. We may rename that planet. We'll see. Industry-wise, we're making use of that. We're building that Condor. We got commercial shipyards on the way. Bunch of other stuff. 20cm railgun just finished up, which is fantastic news. We're going to go for... I'm actually going to look into researching some missile technologies, so I'm going to put 5 into that. We're looking for jump points in Proxima right now. So far, not a lot. We are continuing to ship over resources to Arrakis. We now have, obviously, a refueling station there, and we don't need any people working it. So what I'm going to do is we're going to order up some more tankers to be produced. So I'm going to order up 2 more tankers to be produced into Shipyard Fleet 1. And if I look into our shipyard fleet, we already have 2 tankers which we can use. So I'm going to have detach this tanker. I'm going to have you do fuel transport group 1. And we're actually going to rename you from Earth to Arrakis. And we'll move you over to Logistics Command. We will have you then begin moving, refueling from Colony. But we will do so so you can load 4.4 million litres of fuel. It's low priority right now. We'll do the initial run, and then we will set that probably up to a 2-year system. But we will transfer fuel to Colony, and then we will head back to Sol, and we will move to location. So that should then also extend our range of our surveyors, because if we have a look on our display, and we turned on distance from jump point, distance from selected system, Sol is quite a big distance from Zetamir now. From Alpha, not so much, but from where Arrakis is, quite a significant distance. But yeah, I think that's where I'll leave the episode off. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, consider becoming a member, and I'll see you guys next time. I hope you have enjoyed the episode as we continue. I'm having a lot of fun, and I can't wait to begin preparing to fight the enemies that will be coming our way shortly. Goodbye.